Hello and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host Bryan. It is Friday, second video of the day. Let's explore some brand new music. Muse released something last week, I think it was. Oh, it looks like it was June 20th is when this was released. So I guess a couple weeks ago at this point. But it's Muse. It's new Muse. I've been waiting to get to them. We've had so much new music come out recently. I mean, we had Between the Buried and Me. We have some Deerhoof too, which I haven't gotten to, but they put out some new stuff recently. Who was that other band that we checked out 2 weeks ago? I was just like popular bands dropping singles. That's just what's happening in June. So I wish we could have gotten to this back when it was brand new, but here we are still. Gonna check out some brand new Muse. This one's called Unravelling.
An insect trapped in amber, I'm fading pools. The ecstasy was false. Our love is an unlit script no one can memorize, redacted and revised. I'll let be searching and I'm trying to play alone. An insect trapped in amber, I'm a static hum, no longer happy dumb.
This is a very big sound for Muse. Yeah, very interesting way of breaking down the 4/4. I like the synth in the back.
Your eyes go cold at sunrise as we disembark. You left me in the
I really want to like this. Something's just not clicking so far though.
trapped in amber, I'm a fading.
It's one of those things where like on paper this is totally solid, but the execution is, I don't know. Oh, they cut that part of the pre-chorus out. Geez, a breakdown? That's not where I thought this was going. Great bass lines as always. Really jarring transitions all over the place. You know, it's... Dude, I hate this, man. I was talking about this on one of the recent live streams. I don't remember if it was this previous Sunday or the one before that. About my own expectations setting me up. It's not even like other people are hyping me up like, dude, this is the best Muse track ever. It's going to blow your mind. Like, I haven't really heard much about it. I did see in the Discord people were talking about it having a metallic element to it. I got to hear that now, but I mean, that's not really too much of a spoiler. Although I guess it is if, I've never heard Muse do that. So I guess I did kind of get spoiled on that a little bit. Anyways, and it's not like anyone hyped me up on it though. I appreciate what Muse does. I think the worst Muse song I've heard is like a solid 7 out of 10, right? So I expect really great ideas from them. Actually, I think it's not necessarily great. It's large in scope and artistic. That's what I assume I'm going to get from Muse. And maybe that's only because you've given me, as a community, those tracks from Muse, the very ambitious ones, which makes sense. Those are usually going to be the fan favorites. Those are the ones that are going to get requested for reactions. I get it. I'm not throwing shade at anyone. But regardless, I have this understanding of who Muse is. And so I have a pretty high bar for them. And you give me something like this, and it's not really that, and it's got a weakness to it. And I wish I could put it into words. It's missing that X factor. Really cool ideas on paper. In fact, I think each individual idea is solid. It doesn't come together for me. It's a song that I wish was 4 other songs. But let's talk about what they are doing in here. We have some, some synth stuff at the beginning. And I'm very cool with this. Got kind of an 80s feel on the texture for the synthesizer. The energy of it is a little moodier, but not dark. It's definitely driving with the windows down on the highway at nighttime kind of vibe. No one on the road but you. You got this song cranking. It just feels good. You got your arm out the window, one hand on the wheel, leaning back and just enjoying the vibe. We've got that. We have some light percussion. We have the vocals coming in. There's not an exceptionally catchy melody line from the vocals, but it all comes together into something that's a bit muted and lower energy, but compressed in a way. You can feel like it's going to explode. It's rising tension. I think a lot of that comes from the synth line. It's a great idea in and of itself. I think it's fantastic. What is that term though? There is a genre that is like this vibe from the synth, and I can't, for the life of me, think of what that genre is. But it's good iterative form of that genre right there. I don't have a problem with it. I would totally listen to this. I love that sound. 80s, window down, muscle car, arm out the window, enjoying the cool breeze and the road. And it's just like, yeah, I think it does a good job of capturing that with a little bit of like that Muse trademark eeriness, particularly in the vocal melody and how that plays off of what the instrumentation is doing. Very cool section. Totally down for it. Love it. Then we hit the pre-chorus. A little bit of some metallic, gritty, dirty guitars coming in. We have, focusing on one specific chord and riffing on that with like a cool rhythm going on. And then this builds and builds, going for a fuller and fuller song or sound. And then we have a full-on metal instrumental break section, which, dude, that was cool. I've never heard Muse do that before. It sounds solid. It's got a little bit of synth work behind it, kind of going for that modern metalcore sounds. And yeah, dude, this is a cool buildup. I think it works. Muse pulls it off as if they've been a metal band forever. And it sounds very natural in the moment. This takes us to a very light metalcore chorus. The guitars shift to a less distorted sound. We get away from jagged rhythms and we focus on pure chord progression. We have a synth that goes on in the background that gives us extra texture work. We have catchy melodies from the vocals. We have harmonized melodies on the vocals. If you've listened to anything in the mainstream metal sphere in the last decade or so, you will have heard hundreds of songs that do this. Taking something that's very abrasive and rhythmically jagged and then transitioning into chords and harmony and very poppy sound and back and forth. Like, this is modern metalcore in a nutshell right here. And we're seeing that in a pre-chorus into the chorus. It kind of works. I've heard this sound a lot. I think they pull it off very easily. The melody is super catchy. This entire chorus works 100%. I love the multiple vocalists that join onto it. It's a great section. It is. And it pairs well-ish with the pre-chorus. Something about it doesn't quite click, and I don't know what that is. Maybe I'm just being too nitpicky. We go back into the verse, though. And from here, we go into the pre-chorus. We do the build-up. But we don't hit the full metal section. Instead, we stumble into the chorus. This was awkward, 100%. There's just no way of prettying up the description here. We tripped. We skipped a step and we just went to the next step and just pretended like that's the way you're supposed to climb these stairs. And we missed an entire portion of the song. And I get the idea here to create a little bit of agitation to the listener, to spruce things up, to change things up so it's not predictable. It just doesn't work. I don't think it just feels awkward and unwieldy, and it's not a natural movement. From here, though, we go into the bridge. More heavy guitar work. I'm like, okay, cool. Let's see where they take this. It's a breakdown. This, I think, is going to be, I mean, everything I've said so far is certainly subjective, but this is the most subjective. This is definitely where my biases come into the picture the strongest. I don't like breakdowns. Everything else in here sounds good to my ears. The collection of them and how they transition between them is a bit awkward or rough, but generally speaking, I've enjoyed the synthier verses. I've enjoyed the metallic pre-choruses. I've enjoyed the pop metal choruses. That all works for me, at least in isolation. This doesn't. This was kind of boring. I don't get breakdowns. They're great in concerts, don't get me wrong. But when I'm just listening to a song in my house and I'm not moshing to it, it just does nothing for me. It's a toss-up, right? Because you're going to record studio versions and you're going to play them live, and they kind of need to be the same-ish. So, I don't know. But I guess people love them studio version too, so I'm the odd fish out on this one. But we have a breakdown here, and it's fine. It's a breakdown. There's rhythmic jagginess. There's heavy lower tones. But just like the second pre-chorus, it just becomes the chorus at a certain time. We don't have a nice transition out of it. We don't try to put a little, 2-bar faux quasi guitar solo, a nice little run up to pull us into the chorus or anything like that. Not even a quick little transition. It just becomes it. This song is so disjointed on every level. The tones of the instruments rarely match from moment to moment. The chord progressions are constantly jumping around. The transitions might as well not even be there. We have stitched together 4 distinct songs, or at least 3 distinct songs, and just Frankensteined them into a 4-minute song. I don't even know what more I could call that. It's 4 minutes of sound, and sometimes it kind of works together, but most of the time it doesn't. Very cool moments, but what's the big picture on this? I do hope maybe I hit the lyrics and the jaggedness is artistically or thematically appropriate. One of those songs that I can appreciate as artistically representing a linguistic concept sonically. And I really hope that's the case, because if it's not, this is just a song that is kind of awkward. It's missing a lot of that artistry I expect from Muse. I really think they could have, and I've heard songs in the past where they have disparate ideas and find a way to make them work. This one kind of, it didn't. I do want to take a moment, though, to praise individual ideas. The drum work on this is interesting and frequently diverse. Definitely showcases a wide variety of drumming inspirations from the drummer. The vocal work on this, as expected, is just excellent. I love this dude's voice, and it's very cool, too, to hear him go into this more almost arena powerhouse, fully projected rock presence in the chorus. Very powerful sound I'm not used to hearing from him. I think a lot of the time I hear him in more of a timid, a lot of falsetto and head voice, kind of giving that eerie creepiness, right? So it was very cool to hear him just go for this full on, not like classic metal belting, but just full on projection. The bass work, excellent. I love Muse's bassist, always comes up with ridiculous lines, and they're a bit more reserved here, but there's still plenty of bass movement going on, and the guitar riffs are heavy and aggressive and kind of iterative as far as what I expect from this sort of metalcore riffage, but also something I've never heard from Muse. So as far as I can see, they're playing a little bit outside of their comfort zone and making it look like they've been doing this for decades. So a lot of skill going into that too. So yeah, like I said, lots of praise for individual moments, lots of praise for the individual musicians. It just doesn't come together. And I think that's the spice that's missing, is cohesion of some sort. Hopefully we find that in the themes of the lyrics. Lyrically, this is a breakup song, heartbreak, but it uses a lot of light metaphor to explore that. There is a constant use of describing an insect trapped in amber. It says that I'm a fading pulse and the ecstasy was false. Our love is an unlit script no one can memorize, redacted and revised. I'll lie beside you and try to play along. So it basically says that a lot of the luster of their relationship is gone. They're just kind of going through the motions at this time, and no one can see how any of this went, how we got here, or where it is going. But that for a while, it says the pulse has faded, so the energy's not there. The ecstasy is false. The joy that I show isn't real. He says, I'll lie beside you and try to play along. It says, but I'm no longer happy dumb. Ignorance is bliss. He says he's, pushing past that. He's going to explore this and take it at face value. I'm gonna, hey, this isn't working. Let's stop being ignorant of this. Let's stop living in that bliss and really look at what's going on. The pre-chorus then comes in and says, unraveling. So things are falling apart. The chorus says, feeling the glow die inside of our bones. This is a hymn for our love with no God and no throne. I really like that idea. Once again, saying things are fading, right? The false ecstasy, the pulse diminishing. Now the glow in our bones is dying. The brightness, the light, that feeling of warmth is decaying. But he says we have a hymn for our love, but there's no God and no throne. Hymns in a religious context are songs exalting the God. He says this is a hymn for our love, but that God, he's not there. So the hymn is singing to no one. And thus, if this is a hymn for our love, this song is singing about our love, but that love doesn't exist. It's this falsity. That's not a word. It's the false elements of all of this. It's a very cool line right there in the chorus. Verse 2 is half the length. simply saying, "Your eyes go cold as we disembark, and you left me in the dark." And that's pretty straightforward. The refrain comes in again, says, "I'm a fading high, and our heaven is a lie," bringing the religious element back into it, exploring that again, saying that what we thought was truth isn't real. Fading high is once again the diminishing positive feeling that we've showcased 4 times now. The chorus comes in, the breakdown's just unraveling again, the interlude is just unraveling again, the outro is just unraveling again, we hit the chorus again. There's a lot of repetition in here. I think there's a total of 9, 10, 11 unique lines for a song that has this many lyrics. Pretty typical for sort of the mainstream rock world. The idea of the end of a relationship, of something that felt true but no longer is, unraveling, coming to an end, trying to piece that together with the disjointedness of the music, and maybe, in a sense, we can see that some of the parts are layers, and as we pull them away, we get one layer deeper until we get the truth, which I guess is the metal section. It's the most aggressive, the most abrasive, the heaviest, and the most negative of the song. But that would mean that the pre-chorus and the breakdown are the truth, and the chorus actually feeling positive and poppy and bright and energetic and catchy even, is the lie. And putting that front and center actually sounds pretty interesting until you realize the song is all about saying that's gone, we're past the lie, we have to look at the truth now. And the truth musically is the least used part of the song. So I don't know, I feel like they really went for a high concept thing here. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt, but it does feel like they faltered the execution just a tiny little bit, which is odd for Muse, but and no one's perfect, I suppose. And I really shouldn't put Muse up on this massive pedestal as this phenomenal artistic band when maybe they don't always want to do that. Maybe they want to do it and just miss the mark a little bit. As humans do, none of us are perfect. Maybe I'm just a little too hard on them, expect a little too much. And I think this is a good reminder to keep expectations in check and remember that all artists are just humans. These are my thoughts on Muse's Unravelling, though. Let me think. Let me know what you thought of them. Put your opinions, perspectives, your thoughts, any of that down into the comment section. What did you think of this song? Above that, in the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. Takes you here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all 3 of those. That wraps it up for today. I'll be back tomorrow, though, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC as usual. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever you choose to watch my videos.